Hello and welcome to another replica reviews video. Now today we're doing something a little bit different. Usually, as the title kind of hints there, we usually review replica CO2 pistols, rifles, that kind of thing. So today we're going to be doing a target shooting pistol, and it is the AirForceone Trophy. Now this is a new CO2 powered pellet pistol, as the box very kindly tells you there, and it fires at 5.5 foot per pound of energy. Or 8 joules, which for a CO2 pistol isn't too bad. This is definitely one of the higher power ones. Now this is being marketed as a pellet sort of target pistol. Much more of a match pistol than just your average day plinking. But I have seen a few people saying that it would be perfectly good for humane dispatch as well if hunting is your thing. But I don't really know too much about that, so we'll stick with the target side of things, something I'm a little bit more familiar with. Now it does come in this rather obnoxiously sized box. Unlike most boxes for easy storage, they put them square or little cases or whatever. These guys have decided to go for this crazy sort of almost triangular shaped box, which that's fair enough, it works for them, and it does cut out on a bit of wasted space on the bottom. Most of the information on the side is just some basic information. Rather than coming with an instruction manual, this box seems to have all the information on the side. So on the left we basically just have some information on how to load to CO2, and then on the right here is just some basic information on how to load and fire the weapon, or should I say the pistol. So what we'll do is we'll get the gun out of the box. Now it is in this rather peculiar polystyrene, so it's going to be rather loud unfortunately, and probably quite difficult to do. And then as you can see, you take it out, and this is all we're really confronted with. So taking this off, that basically is the package. This is what's included. You don't get any fancy gimmicks or anything like that. You just got a really nice presented pistol. So what we're going to do is just quickly move the packaging out the way, get the camera all refocused in nice and close up to give you a proper decent walk around, and we'll just give you a guide around the pistol. Okay, so here we have the pistol out of the box, and as you can see, it's an incredibly traditional looking target pistol, which, to be completely honest, is something I like. Reviewing sort of semi-automatic pistols, revolvers, that kind of thing, it can get a little bit samey, so it's nice to have something a little bit different in. Now the first thing that struck me obviously is that the wooden grip. Now it might not look it, but this is actual wood. It's not a plastic or a veneer effect or anything. It's a really nice smooth ergonomic grip, and I have to say it's quite comfortable to sit in the hand. Now because of the design as well, it is also, I would go as far to say it's an ambidextrous design. Very much I can hold it either way round with my hand without too many problems. I can fire left-handed, right-handed, and it's not too much of an issue. And it's incredibly smooth. There's no sharp edges. Even the corners here have been kind of shaved off a little bit just to make it slightly more ergonomic and slightly nicer to grip. The rest on the bottom, whilst practical, I personally don't use it. I don't know if that's just because I'm not familiar with all the target shooting techniques, but it's not something I've had to use to this date. I usually just shoot one-handed and unsupported, so each and everybody's got the different way of shooting, but it does add a little bit of weight as well, so that does keep the gun balanced quite nicely. Now at £160 or thereabouts, this is probably going to be aimed more towards your beginning target shooters, maybe pest controllers, obviously being 5.5 foot per pound. It's got a bit of power behind it. It's definitely not going to be a top-end gun, but not everybody has silly amounts of money to spend on pistols. So this is probably in quite a nice area of the market for most people. Everything else that you can see is obviously metal. Trigger guard's metal. The trigger itself is metal. All of the action, the cylinder and the barrel and the compensator at the end there, are all also metal. Now it does come with fully adjustable rear sight. You can adjust the windage just here, hopefully you can see where my finger's pointing, and also on the top you can adjust the height. Now that gives you a little bit of adjustment. You can really hone this pistol in, and when you do, it's incredibly accurate, which is quite nice to see from any kind of pistol. Now it's worth noting this is not a PCP pistol. This is purely a 12-gram CO2 cartridge powered, so the same CO2 that you'd use in your day-to-day blowback pistols, your Tanfolios, your Umarexes, etc, etc. So it's quite nice and it's easy to get hold of. Loading it's fairly simple. You just unscrew this cap on the end and it releases the bung. Obviously you put the CO2 cartridge in, basically the neck inwards. So the neck with your kind of your piercing area, that goes in first, and obviously you just got this little this little metal cap. Got a nice little indentation as well, holds the cartridge perfectly dead centre inside the tube, which is quite nice. Putting it back on, I have noticed it can be a little bit difficult. You do get to a point, say here or so, obviously when there's a cartridge in there, and you do need a little bit of extra help. Now I'm assuming that's what the holes are for. I'm sure you can find some kind of instrument, whether it be Allen key, small little bar or pen or whatever, just to help you tighten up if you need the extra leverage. Obviously, if you're not the most dexterous person with your hands, or if you've got any kind of condition, that might make your life a little bit easier, because you don't really want to be faffing around with a little screw-on cap. Now, the action is really, really simple to use. If you're familiar with a bolt-action air rifle, it's pretty much identical, really. It's incredibly simple to use. You simply lift the bolt up like so. As you can see, it's just got a little slot there. Bring it to the rear, and as you can see, there's a click, and the bolt kind of holds itself back, and then you load your pellet just in the breech here, bring it forward, and then when the bolt's all the way forward, just rest the hammer, the bolt down, sorry. Now the trigger is fairly light. It's a little bit clunky, and when you do pull the trigger, it does jump in your hand ever so slightly. But to be completely honest, it's nothing too out the ordinary. It's just a normal spring system inside, so it's nothing too out of the ordinary. Compensator does level the gun out as well. It's quite nice to hold. It's incredibly well balanced, and to be completely honest, I mean, I'm not a target shooter by any means, but it's just been an incredibly comfortable gun to shoot. Apart from that, there's not overly too much to say about this gun. There aren't any features. One thing that I did find was a little bit weird was the lack of a safety catch. Now obviously, with the bolt being so easy to get to and so easy to use, you know, you can do some manual safety, whether you just want to raise the bolt up and bring it to the rear ever so slightly, just so you know it's not cocked or anything like that. Then that can act as almost like a secondary safety. But as far as an actual manual safety catch goes, there isn't anything, which I thought was, yeah, it's a little bit unusual. But if you're target shooting, I suppose, you know, there's often an incredibly more disciplined kind of area, and without wanting to sound rude, target shooters for me, usually when we go to the club, are usually the ones that are incredibly switched on. They've been doing it since the beginning of time, and you know, they just have a bit more common sense. That said, everybody's prone to mistakes, and obviously having the safety catch there is an incredibly important thing. So it's a little bit of a shame not to have that, but you know, we won't dwell too much on that. Now for £160, I do think you're getting an incredibly good gun. Couple of things that I maybe would have changed. I would have loved to have had a left or right-handed specific grip. That would be really nice, but I'm sure the more sort of the savvy shooters out there will modify their grips and carve bits and pieces out. I've seen it done. You look at some of the work done on the rifles in particular, and the things that shooters have done to make it more comfortable. And yeah, I don't think there's much stopping you with doing this, but to be completely honest, why fix what isn't broke? Out the box, you're getting essentially a competition ready gun to a certain degree, putting out quite a nice output, obviously using a 12 gram CO2 cartridge, but it's good, and the shot count as well isn't too bad. I have seen worse, so it's quite nice to read sort of stats that are actually quite pleasing, because too many times you look at stats for guns and it's just like, yeah, you can get about 30 shots if you're lucky, if you're firing XYZ, so that's quite nice. Now it is a 177. There is, I believe, a 2.2 version available either now or coming soon, but I'm not entirely sure. I would have to double check that. But this is a 177, and it's pellet, not BB. Before anybody asks, the amount of people that ask me if you can put a 4.5mm BB in a pellet gun is unreal. I have been asked if you can put BBs in a day state before, but you know, that's a whole different conversation and a rant. But apart from that, as I said, there isn't really much to say. You know, just some basic AirForceone markings, basic field target, trophy target, logo on the side, and obviously just your calibre and a little serial number here. This was number 26, so one of very few around at the moment. I'm sure these are going to be incredibly popular. So if you want to know a little bit more, I will try and get some pictures for you in a second and put those over on our Facebook page. I'll put a link in the description below. If you've got any questions, queries, anything like that, feel free to post them in the comments box below. I will endeavour to get back to you as quick as I can and with as much information as I can. But, you know, you may have to give me a couple of days or so. It depends if I know the answer or if I have to go to research. So, apart from that, that's it really. Thank you very much for watching another one of our videos. Feel free to give us a like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.